Well, my client was a young woman who had met the respondent when they were both in school. They're in the medical profession, and so over time their careers progressed along different paths, and eventually she no longer had contact with him.
A year after he had moved out of state, he showed up at my apartment or my work one day, and I had to have my coworkers tell him like what I had told him already, that I didn't want to hear from him, that kind of thing, that was still standing, and I didn't really understand why he was showing up at my work. And then later I got off at night and he was waiting at my apartment. You know, this person knew where I lived, they knew where I worked, they knew my daily schedule.
She lived in utter fear, and when she had separated from her prior boyfriend, she was still anxious, but she allowed herself to feel safe in that she believed the distance and the time meant that she didn't have to worry about the situation anymore. As many victims feel, it was embarrassing to her. She didn't really want to share this information with her coworkers or her family, and she just hoped she wouldn't have to deal with it again. So having to confront it in the way she did was terrifying to her.
As intimidating and as dramatic of a process as it seems to get the law involved in something that is making your life difficult, that by not addressing it and trying to manage it yourself, sometimes it makes your problem worse.
Oftentimes, just having someone who's been through the process, who knows the law, who understands the dynamics, who understands something about the issues they're dealing with is a great comfort. So I think that was first. Someone who recognized what she was going through, believed her, and helped her figure out a way to speak up, find her voice, and be able to tell the court her story. My client is an example of the new categories of individuals since January 1st of this year that are now able to get protection that prior to this year were completely unable to get protection. These are people in a dating relationship, and also she was a victim of stalking, which has been added to the definition of domestic violence as well as dating violence.
I just felt so supported really by everybody that I had come into contact with.
When the court ruled in her favor and recognized and stated that she had been stalked, it was such an empowering thing.
I was so relieved that day in court because there was a moment where I was just afraid that, you know, what if I was wrong, and what if I was wrong, and what if this doesn't ever happen and I'm never going to get rid of this person. And that when the judge finally said that, you know, this was absolutely not right, and she gave the IPO, I was just so relieved that I almost teared up, because just all those years of having to deal with that, and finally somebody was validating that that was not okay and that that person couldn't do that. I just feel so thankful and grateful for her kindness and her being good at her job, and just being willing to help me in whatever way that she could.